a costly therapist mistake. Today, I want to talk about a common but critical mistake that ISTDP therapists often make, one that can silently undermine your effectiveness in helping patients achieve meaningful change. This mistake can significantly reduce your efficacy. In this video, I'll uncover this crucial error. We'll discuss why catharsis alone doesn't lead to transformation, how therapists inadvertently undermine their own credibility, and why addressing internal conflict is essential for meaningful progress. The mistake. The mistake lies in failing to clarify and help the patient understand their internal conflict about letting you, the therapist, get close to their most intimate thoughts and feelings. As Davin Liu often framed it, in order to help you get to the bottom of these problems, we need to examine your most intimate thoughts and feelings. This idea underpins the therapeutic task. It's about access, granting the therapist greater access to the patient's inner life and, more importantly, enabling the patient to gain deeper access to themselves. The therapeutic relationship serves as the primary vehicle for this process, allowing the patient to explore and connect with the depths of their own inner world. Let me be clear, identifying defenses and inviting feelings is essential. But if you don't help the patient recognize their internal conflict about allowing you to get that close to you, you're missing a critical component. Many patients struggle even to allow themselves to connect with their inner lives, let alone let someone else in. Simply being face to face with you and having you take an interest in their goals and struggles can activate conflicts around emotional closeness. Some patients are more conflicted about emotional closeness with certain types of people, specific demographics, for example, but the core premise of ISTDP's metapsychology remains. Once patients can allow themselves and the therapist access to their most intimate thoughts and feelings, they can resolve the engine of their neurotic suffering. Even in fragile cases where resistance against closeness morphs into shifting distortions rather than a firm wall, the same premise applies. The closeness must occur with an undistorted therapist. Defenses against feeling never exist in a vacuum. Defenses against feelings never exist in isolation. Even when someone is cemented shut and chronically sealed off from their emotions, this avoidance always stems from interpersonal origins. Even the so-called symptom neurotics with low to moderate resistance, thought to lack significant defenses against emotional closeness, still exhibit defenses against intimacy. Davin Liu's 1995 case of the salesman demonstrates this vividly. The transcript reveals tactical defenses actively working to create interpersonal distance. A common therapist oversight. What I see happening is this. Therapists clarify defenses and point out that feelings are being avoided. They may even address the transference, noting that these defenses are active in the therapeutic relationship and clarifying that the patient has feelings toward the therapist. While this is often an excellent starting point, it's not enough. If you stop there, you miss the critical step of helping the patient understand their conflict about allowing you to get close to them. Consider a therapy session where the therapist asks the patient what is important to them to focus on for the session. This seemingly straightforward question invites emotional intimacy. In response, the patient falls into a haze of second-guessing and aimless rumination. The therapist identifies these behaviors as defenses, clarifies that feelings are being avoided, and invites the patient to connect with underlying emotions. Yet the process stalls. What's missing here is a crucial step. The therapist has not helped the patient recognize that the initial question about priorities activated their internal conflict around allowing the therapist to get emotionally close. All subsequent defenses stem from this unresolved conflict. Without addressing this, the work is unlikely to gain meaningful traction. Why this matters. So, why is it so important to help the patient see their conflict around emotional closeness? Why isn't it enough to simply clarify defenses and press for feelings? I will offer you 3 critical reasons for why addressing this conflict is essential. 1. Catharsis is not enough. You might achieve some emotional breakthroughs or moments of catharsis, but without insight into the underlying conflict, these breakthroughs rarely lead to lasting change. Emotional processing must be paired with genuine understanding. Patients need to recognize their internal struggles around emotional closeness to meaningfully grapple with them and untie those psychological knots. 2. Loss of credibility and a subtle misalliance. If you don't address the patient's conflict about letting you get close, you risk losing credibility. The part of the patient that knows they are conflicted will sense that you don't fully understand them. This creates a subtle misalliance, where the therapeutic relationship loses alignment. Patients need to feel seen, not just in their defenses and emotions, but also in the relational dynamics of their resistance. 3. A conflict not identified cannot be intensified. A major task for ISTDP therapists is to intensify the patient's internal conflicts. This can only happen if the conflict is correctly identified. Resistance against feelings always have an interpersonal dimension. If you focus solely on feelings while neglecting the relational aspect, you're missing the full picture. Davenlou's emphasis on tilting into the transference reflects this understanding. The patient's resistance to emotional closeness with the therapist mirrors their broader relational struggles. In closing, remember, resistance against feelings is never just about the feelings themselves. It always includes an interpersonal component. Helping patients face their conflicts around intimacy isn't just a step in the process. It's the foundation for creating deep, lasting change. By addressing this conflict directly, you can strengthen the therapeutic alliance, intensify internal conflict, and unlock the full potential of ISTDP. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.